reading a gospel like that, I just want to take a deep breath. Everybody calm down. From time to time, I hear complaints that there's not any rules anymore. No more rules. All the rules have been thrown out, especially when they hear Father Pierre's homilies. There's just nothing. Everything's free and fancy free. We can do whatever we want. He's not strict enough, all that. Well, I'm a Franciscan. I believe in God's grace, so I come by that honestly if that's the case. But the fact of the matter is, I think if we go deeper in our scriptures and hear what Jesus is really saying, what we have before us, the invitation we have before us, is much stronger. The call is much more profound. The bar is actually set much higher than any set of rules we can imagine. Jesus says, I didn't come to abolish the law, I came to fulfill it. In other words, I am the law. I am the law, therefore you follow me. You do not just what I say, but what I do. That's pretty powerful, it's pretty potent, and in no way is it easy. You know, I think at times we just want to be told what to do, but actually more than that, and finally what we're looking for is to be told what not to do. Just tell me those 10 things that I'm not supposed to do. Give me a list of things I'm not supposed to touch, for example, and I'm going to do everything else. Well, the relationship with God goes a little deeper than that. Gets into our intentions, our processed or unprocessed emotions, and invites us to ask ourselves, where are we going? And ultimately what it comes down to is that invitation to do the work of being reconciled, being one with our God who is one with us. And freedom is definitely there. In the first reading from the book of Sirach, we hear Sirach speak of choice. But choice really is presented in Sirach as an offering. That offering of salvation that is presented to us. And Sirach goes on to say that before you have fire or water, you've got life or death, you've got good or evil, you've got steak or tofu. You make the choice. But there's a big difference. One is a saving grace. One is really good news. One empowers us, strengthens us in our relationship with God. It actually sets us on a path where we do the wonderful things that God does. The other option doesn't really go anywhere. It's just kind of a dead end. And we might, go down that road from time to time only because we don't know everything. We're living on faith. We're living on hope. And all of that is based on what we don't know. Nobody knows the mind of God, as 1 Corinthians says, St. Paul says in 1 Corinthians. We're in a relationship with wisdom that is beyond us. We can't see it clearly. We're led by our hearts and therefore our souls. But the mission, of course, is to do what Jesus does. And of course, he's the embodiment of the law. He does that by caring for us genuinely, holistically. And there's a little key piece right in the middle of today's gospel. He's talking about all the different commandments. And of course, it's that very strong words at the end. Let your yes be yes, your no be no. Do it authentically, do it fully and completely. Then he speaks really of where we want to be, and that is giving our gift at the altar, being in perfect relationship with God where we are reconciled. And he says, if someone has something against you, if you are at conflict with somebody, it doesn't even have to be your fault. Go and work it out. Go and deal with not just your actions. It doesn't end with, if as long as I don't kill someone, everything's fine. No. Deal with your anger long before you get there. is what Jesus is saying. And therefore then respect. He addresses the issue of insult. There's no need to insult your neighbor. There's no need to disrespect them. There's no need to say, you fool. Why would we call anyone stupid? The invitation is consistently towards relationship. And it's in relationship with our sisters and brothers, with our neighbor, that we also find ourselves moving towards deeper in our relationship with God. But we are made for freedom, and we are empowered by God's grace. The commands of God are really intended to be made flesh, but we only get there, we only do that when our hearts are open to receiving. Open to receiving the good news of God's loving mercy that comes to us in so many different ways, and on all these odd people that God has put in our lives. All these people that God has put in our lives to be in conflict with, to have difficulty with. They're grace. We're good news. We're good news to each other. We challenge each other. Sometimes we hurt each other. But alone, we don't get anywhere good. Together, we arrive, a people reconciled, and leave our gifts at the altar and celebrate. May we as people of faith be open to God's grace consistently, and dare to follow a God who loves us.